So I know this was kind of a last minute live that I decided to do today. After last week, I thought, you know what, I need to just start scheduling out and maybe give you guys in advance as to like who's going to be on the upcoming weeks. So before we start chatting with Makayli, I just want to let you know next week I'm actually going to be in Dallas for the Build 22 event with Tony Robbins. So I plan to go live with some of the ladies that I'm going to be staying with there and meeting with some of the gals from Real Estate Talk for Women from the group. We're planning to put together like a meet and greet, which will be really super fun. But I for sure wanted to make sure that, so next week we'll be doing something about the Tony Robbins event. I'll maybe just give some tidbits about things that I learned while I was there, because it will be day one that I'm going to be going live there. And then the following week, I will make sure that I have like a list of what's up and coming for September. So that will be, I think, on like August 31st. But we're super excited today to have Makayli as our guest. I started Real Estate Talk for Women because I think navigating mom life and real estate, being a realtor, is difficult. It's a challenge. So I wanted to have Makayli come on today because I know there's tons of new moms in the group. Also some that are just like currently expecting, they're just finding out, and they're just ready getting into the real estate business. So I thought maybe I would take an opportunity to let Makayli share a bit about her story and what it was like for her when she first became a realtor, and then a surprise you're expecting. So anyways, go ahead, Makayli. I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of where you're at, family life. Okay. One kid.
Hey, I'm Makayli. I'm also Nicole's daughter. So, I don't know. My life just kind of took off after I met my husband. So I was working at a bank at Golden West Credit Union. It's a local credit union here in Utah. And I had worked there for about 4 years, and my husband caught COVID in the spring of 2020. And I decided that during that time where I wasn't able to go into work and I had to stay home for 2 whole weeks, that I was just going to get my real estate license. So I got my license, and I finished out the bank there, came here and bought my house. And then I quit the bank and started doing real estate full time. And then
you were licensed October, right? You got your license in October?
I got my license in May, but I had to finish out working at the bank.
That's right. I remember.
Until I purchased my home. They wouldn't, because you know how it is. You can't.
Yeah.
Can't buy a job if you're trying to buy a house.
You can't pay it back. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. And then I started practicing real estate in October.
Yeah.
But, and my son's here. You're going to hear him just kind of talking. Sorry.
Mom life. So you found out you're expecting when? Was it January or February?
Yeah. So started real estate in October, but I found out I was expecting at the end of February.
Yeah.
So really I'd only been doing real estate for 4 months at that point. And so that was kind of scary because I was like, well, here comes this new life and I don't know what I'm doing in my career, but you know, I was going to make it work. So the first 3 months of pregnancy, I was super, super sick, and it was really hard for me to get out of bed. But, you know, I just answered my phone calls when they came in and was able to arrange things at convenient times for myself. It turned it very quickly turned into like, I'm protecting my time, right? Like you always talk about that, how, you know, if you don't value your own time, they're never going to respect your time either, you know?
Right.
So I had to be very good about like, okay, well, you know, this time, like afternoon, I can make it work. Like if it's first thing in the morning, it's just not going to work for me. And so I became really good at just not really giving them the option. My buyers the option. I kind of just said, hey, this is my schedule, you know?
Well, that's not like they said, oh no, I'm not going to work with you. I have to be there at 9 a.m. Right? Like, I mean, they'll work around your time, right?
Yep. Exactly. Yep. And most of the time during the week, people can't really meet at 9 a.m. anyways, unless they're coming here from out of town. But during the week, like a lunchtime is best for people anyways. Yeah. Anyway, so the whole pregnancy, from the time I was pregnant to the time I had my son, I probably only worked 6 months, and that's a 10-month pregnancy. But I was able to close enough business that I kind of had a little nest egg that I could take some time off after he came. And now I have depleted that nest egg and it's time to get back to work.
There it goes. Time to get back to work. Well, so tell them how many transactions you closed. Do you remember?
I think I did 10 last year. And I was able to bring in about, what'd we say, 70,000?
It was about 75 after your cap, 75,000 after your cap. The crazy thing is a lot of people think that just because you're my daughter, I'm like shoveling you business and I'm giving you business. But what people need to know is you actually were just prospecting out of our lead source, out of our lead generation, and calling leads like everyone else does and setting up appointments. What I would do is you would just circle me in and I'd go in for the appointment, and then you would take it from there and show them property and we'd write them up and close them. So really kind of a tag team effort, but it's a great way to be on a team while you're expecting or be, obviously you have to give whatever percentage it is away to your team, but it's a way for you to make income. I mean, in 6 months of time to earn 75,000 and your cap was 5,000, so 70 total. To earn 70,000 in 6 months is not bad. It's really, really good. The challenge now, tell them a little bit about the challenge now, because it's hard to come back. It's hard to come back.
The challenge now is he walks.
Well, I just started walking last night.
He moves.
Yeah. He loves the dog.
So when I had him, so here's what I've noticed. No stage of their life is easy.
No,
it's just not. And no stage of you coming into this new role as a mom is easy. Just being a mom is hard, and then you have to add on, you're not just a mom, you're kind of like a lifeline even for your spouse and for your kids. And I still have to support my family with my income, so it's a lot of pressure and it's hard. But I think the challenge was I was constantly in this mindset of when he's a little bit older, it'll be easier. Oh, when he's a little bit older, it'll be different. And it's not, it's never different. And so I finally just kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, if as exhausted as I was when he was younger, if I would have just kept going, then I wouldn't be in this lull that I'm in now where the market has shifted.
But that's okay. That's the nice part about working really, really hard and then being able to enjoy it and being able to enjoy, what was it, 4 months? You took October to.
I really kind of kicked it in gear.
Yeah, almost 5 or 6 months additional. So, I mean, that's so nice. Not very many women get to do that. They don't really have an opportunity to stay home with their babies.
Better than maternity leave.
Way better than maternity leave. And it's always a challenge because people, I mean, even in the group today, there's questions in there, how do I go from being a W-2 employee to all of a sudden now I'm going to go be self-employed? And what does that look like? And how do you guys make the jump? You just have to do it. You just have to make a plan to do it. And I could see a lot of comments in there saying, have 6 months nest egg. That would have been nice. My husband was a police officer. We barely could make our bills. We barely could make the bills. So, I mean, the nest egg thing for me just wasn't high noxadoodle, wasn't an option, but I think for a lot of moms, it's really scary, but if they'll continue doing what you did, really, it's just keeping that pipeline full, right?
Yeah, as long as so every time a lead came in, that first critical hour is so important. And as soon as I got him on the phone, it was game on. It was I didn't have time to sit there and chit chat with them. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to get through the pre-qualifying stuff that's really important. We call it the pre-qualifying script, but I don't like that because I don't really go off a script. Yeah. I just kind of know I need to hit this point, this point, this point, and then we're good,
Yeah.
So it was just kind of game on after that. And I just kind of kept going. And as soon as I had somebody that was I'm ready to buy right now, I'm going to be in town this weekend, I'd set the appointment and I just keep going, keep finding my next person. And Nicole always talks about, a deal a week. And that was kind of my mindset. while I was pregnant was, okay, I just got to find one hot and ready buyer this week, and we're just going to keep going and running with it. And it sustained me all the way through. We were in the hospital when I got my last paycheck. So we just kept going through the whole pregnancy. And
yeah. Well, and just, it's just about protecting your time. I think that that's the biggest thing, is like when you set the appointment, just know that that's, you know, if you have to get a babysitter, you get a babysitter. If you have to have, you know, somebody help you, then you have someone help you. If you have to take your baby with you, you take your baby with you. We've taken Knox to a listing appointment with us because it was a past client of Makayli and I's, and they were actually so excited to see him. So, you know, I think the industry has changed. You know, the NAR says that I believe the numbers are like 60% of realtors are actually women nowadays. And I think it's because now we're able to manage and it's more mainstream that if we need to take our babies with us or we need to take our kids with us for a showing, while I wouldn't advocate for you to do that every single time, but if you have no choice, you have no choice. Your people and your customers, if they don't understand, then they're not really your people in the first place. Do you really want to do business with people who don't understand what it's like to be a mom? And to, you know, my clients think that I was like a rock star mom because I had these 4 kids and I'm trucking around town and I'm crazy busy and I got these deals going, and they're just like, we know you're so busy, but we would love to see this house. And of course I'm never too busy for my clients, although in the back of my mind I'm thinking, holy, I'm super busy. But yeah, you know, it's fine. We find a way to make it work. And I think what you said earlier was key. Like there'll never be a time when they are easier. I mean, unless your child has medical condition, and I've ran into that too. There's never a time where they're this big. They're so small, and to just enjoy the time that you have with them, and then work your business around your family. Work it around your family. Don't work the business and then make time for family. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And
well, and that's why I left the bank anyways. I got so sick of them being like, no, you can't go to your brother's baseball tournament. No, you can't go to this family event where everybody's going down out of town. Like, I got so sick of being told no, when in my mind I was like, well, my family is the most important thing. And it just isn't worth it anymore for me to miss out on all that. And when I have my own family, like, I don't want to miss out on that. Like, I want to be that super mom. I want to be that mom that can be to the recitals. I want to be the mom that can, you know, go to the Halloween parade. You know, I just want to be involved in all of that. And I don't ever want to have somebody tell me that I have to miss out on my son's life.
Yeah.
That's why I did it.
It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling. It's something that every single mom feels. The mom guilt thing is a real deal. It's a real deal. And now here you are, 26. And now you're like, Mom, let's hang out this weekend. Mom, let's hang out this weekend. And I'm finally to a point where I'm like, oh, good, I finally have a life. I can hang out with some friends. I can do something. And my kids are like, Mom, we want to hang out with you. I was like, where were you when you were 16, 17, 18? You couldn't stand me. That's rude, you know? But it's okay. Like, life goes full circle. But I think it's important to like recognize you can do this business in a shorter amount of time. People talk all the time about how if you give yourself 8 hours, you will spend all 8 hours doing a task. Like if I gave you a task to do a project and I said you have to have it done by 5, you would use all the way up until 5 to get it done the best way you know how to, and you'd use every minute that you could. So why not just think of it that way for your real estate business? You know, be honest every single day. That's what I always say. Be honest every day about how much time you actually have to work your business. You know, you only have 3 hours that day. You have 3 hours. Then make sure you get your prospecting in at least an hour. You know, make sure you follow up on your leads and you try to set at least one appointment. Like, do your best to follow what you need to be doing, and then move on to the next day. Like, give yourself permission to be, it's okay. Like the next day, say you have 6 hours, great. Take the 6 hours and make it work. You know, just make it work. I think we get really good at like juggling things. You know, just I'm the figure this out gal. Like, that's me. I'm just gonna figure it out. I got to figure it out. And improvise, you know, be queen of improvising. So tell them, I'd love for the gals also, these young moms, we talk all the time about like investing in real estate. And I shared with them a little bit about you on the last slide with Tina about how you were able to purchase some investment properties. So maybe just to hit on that real quickly. And let me see, we've got a couple of comments, but I just want to make sure. Oh, yes, leveraging time. I love that. So true. But maybe hit on a couple of things that you did when you were purchasing your investment properties and kind of what that looked like, and now what it looks like for you.
Yeah. So I bought my first house in 2018. I was at the bank and I was making, I think, $12 an hour at that time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was full-time. So, but I mean, $12 an hour is like nothing, especially now. But I was able to buy my first home. And once I bought that, I met my husband, and
Well, and you lived in it for 2 years, right? You lived in it for 2.
Yeah. So I lived in it for 2 years, and then I met my husband in 2019. And while we were dating and engaged, I mean, he had his own home, so he had purchased a property as well. So then when we got married, I had technically 2 homes in the state of Utah. It's shared. So, and then once we got married, we kind of just decided, like, by the time it was 2 years in my first home, I knew that I already wanted another one. Like,
why did you know that?
Why did I know that? Because my mom told me.
Realtors, because realtors tell people invest. Especially my kids. I've told you since you were kids, go get a job, work in there for 2 years, and then go buy your first property. Yeah. Live in it 2 years, and then go buy another one. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, is that first property your ideal place?
No.
Could you see yourself ever moving back into that property?
I would be very sad if I had to move back into that property.
Okay, but it is nice to know that if something happened, you have a place to go, right?
Yeah, well, and we talk about that all the time because I already have a plan to buy my fourth one. So I pretty much just have a plan. Every 2 years, I'm going to buy a new house. Yeah. And, I don't have the details of how that's going to work, but that's not my job to figure out until I have the pre-qualification. Yeah. Right. So I already have a plan.
Lending changes so much that in another year or 6 months, lending could be different anyway. So just knowing that you're going to buy, just having a plan is half the battle.
It's all about goals, right? And just knowing, just sticking to it and what you want. Like, I don't know. It's really nice though, because I was able to refinance it and now it cash flows.
Yeah. So cash flow. So tell them a little bit about the dollar wise, if you don't mind sharing. So
yeah, that's fine.
The first one.
So right now the mortgage on my first one is, I think, $680 a month, and I rent it out for $1,350. So I make about $700. Yes. Right? Is that right? Yeah. That's right on that. About $700.
Yeah, it started at $750. The rent started at $950. Sorry, the rent started at $950 or $900.
My mortgage was $950.
Yeah, and the original owner rented it out for $900.
Oh, right, yeah.
But then you up the rents as the market increased.
Yes,
and you have a property
manager. Property manager. Yeah. And that, even though I only have one property that I need managed, it's worth my time and it's worth my sanity to just pay her the 10%. Yeah. It's $130. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And at the end of the year, you get an itemized pro forma.
Yeah, and she keeps track of all my tax stuff, and I just have to hand it over to my tax advisor at the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just worth it to have that property manager, because she deals with the renters. Like, I already deal with buyers and sellers. I don't want to deal with renters too much.
One less person. Yes. No, it's really, really good. It's super smart. And for me, I taught my kids, don't do what we did. Don't do what we did. We didn't know any better. Our parents didn't know to teach us to invest. We didn't know any better. But now I feel like I have an obligation to let all of my people know, especially my first-time home buyers. I tell them all the time, no one cares about you more than I do, and no one cares more about you buying this first home than me. And I always give them an example of my daughter, but I tell them, you're going to call me in a couple of years and you're going to tell me you want to cash out the equity and you want to go buy a bigger house because you've outgrown this. And I'm going to be the only realtor in my area that's going to tell you, don't do that. I'm going to tell you, if you can, hang on to it and keep it as an investment, and we'll find a way for you to purchase your next one. The hardest one is your first one. But when you make your clients investors, or you make them money over long term, they become your repeat referral customers for life, because you've changed their life. You really have changed the trajectory of how their end game is going to look. Like financially, Makayli will probably be done in 10 years, real estate wise. Once she buys her 5th property, I would imagine she'll sell one of her first couple and go buy a duplex and start leveraging the size of investments that she owns. But gosh dang, that's what we teach our people. That's what we teach our people to do. Yet we have a hard time doing it, not only ourselves, but I feel like we have an obligation to teach it to our children, and at young ages, right? Like we were playing rich dad, poor dad game board, which was so complicated when they were younger. But I had her read books on like what was the teen book I had you read, Makayli?
Oh, that was my favorite. 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens.
7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. Like sharing with your kids what our knowledge is that we're learning in the real estate industry. Because while we're growing our mindset, our children, they will experience the same thing, and you'll be shocked as to what their leveled up life will look like. Not that they're being entitled, but that their expectations of themselves and their goals will be elevated too, which is really fun. Makayli happens to be my oldest daughter. Just a couple more things, that she was the one who actually felt the pinch of my first 5 years in real estate the hardest. She was my oldest. I wasn't home, to do her hair and to get her off to school, and I missed out on all of that stuff. So I tell her, don't miss it, and that's why I coach the way that I do, and I share with you guys how to work your real estate business around your family time, because it's the one thing that you can't get back. It's just you can't replace it, right? So just making that time just count, especially while they're little like this. Like you don't want to miss it. Anyways, anything else, Makayli, that you feel like would be advantageous to share?
I think I love what Beverly Whipple said at your mastermind event here, where she said 3, 2, 1, do it. Like 3, 2, 1, go. I have to do that all the time because I get in my head. I'm an analytical type personality. So I get in my head about things, and I talk myself out of things. I'm a really bad procrastinator as well, for that reason. So I have to constantly get up every morning and say 3, 2, 1, we're going to get out of bed. 3, 2, 1, we're going to get ready. 3, 2, 1, we're going to make this phone call. Like just doing it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable it's going to be. Getting back into it was hard because it was like, I'm out of practice. I haven't done it for almost 6 months. So, but you find your groove, and once you find it, just keep going and just don't stop. I mean, the second you stop, it takes 3 more months. 3 more months to get something going, and that's hard. Start over.
What would you think is the best skill that you took with you from the bank to real estate?
Customer service, really. Like just knowing the concept of doing everything that you can to help your customer or help your client, and not passing the information. I guess, like, what am I trying to say? Sharing what you know, sharing your knowledge, because they don't know, like they're not in the industry, so they don't know. So just sharing any tidbit of information that you have to be as helpful as you can,
right,
is super, super important. And I think that really has helped me be successful in real estate, is just knowing we respond to the clients when they give us a text message. You answer the phone call when they call you. You
I know that sounds really super elementary, right? But like, how many realtors don't answer your call?
Yeah, it's hard. It's frustrating. Be frustrating for sure.
Yeah. Be that gal that's going to answer their call every time. Like sometimes you run into things that happens, but pick up the phone and call. So many people are so into texting nowadays, and the first initial should be a phone call, and then you can go ahead and ask them what's the best way to communicate. Text, email, or a phone call. You let me know which one works best for you. Listen, it's about them. It's not about you.
Yeah,
it's not about you. That's the crazy thing about real estate is someone once said at one of the seminars I went to, they call it we FM, right? What's in it for me? So I think that a lot of people operate from the real estate business is so hard. I don't have enough leads. These leads suck. My CRM isn't good enough. Listen, whatever system you use is the best one, because it's hard to find one that you actually like and you feel comfortable with. And you're having the same things happen over and over and over again with the leads. It's probably not the leads, it's probably you. And that's a hard thing for us to grasp and to understand. But like, the better that we can get at our skills, which this market is going to expose as your skills. Oh, here he comes. Is your skills is practice. You got to practice your skills, practice your scripts. And even if you don't like doing scripts, it's fine. Change it into a conversation. If you hate the word script, good. Call it a conversation. Because not having a script is still a script, by the way. It still is. You know, everyone knows when you go to Chick-fil-A, what do they say when you say thanks so much? My pleasure.
My pleasure.
You know, we all know it, and guess what? We all know it because it's their brand, it's their messaging. You know, they've established themselves in the market. Anyway, it's super fun. Well, I appreciate you so much, Makayli. I hope this helps a few of the ladies. We for sure will have you on again for some more interviews. It's hard to be a mom in real estate. It's not easy, but it is not impossible. It is not impossible. You know, you're going to hit 100,000 on your next full year. I know you will. I know you will. They'll supersede it. And, you know, I wish you more success than I ever had. I think it's going to be fantastic to watch my kids take off in the industry. And if ever there's an opportunity, it's this market. It really is this market. This is an opportunity for you all to forge ahead. And don't look back. Don't look back. Every day is just a new day, and give yourself some reprieve. And you need a pat on the back, you can always message me, and I'll always give you a pat on the back. You need a pep talk, you can come talk to me. You need to punch someone else. Don't punch me, but you can talk to me. But I really do appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being on today. I hope this was a little bit helpful. Investing is a big deal, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that too. This is Knox, a dude. Bye, Knox. I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you guys on Friday for our lunch and learn. Excited for the lunch and learn. We're going to be talking about buyers. Last week we talked about sellers. This week we're going to be talking about buyers, and that is 100% how I built my repeat referral business. So this is a really fun topic for me to talk about that will be jam-packed. So I will see you guys all Friday at noon Eastern time. Love you. Thanks, Makayli.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.